Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo, and oh my God, the Oscars, the Oscars, the Oscars. We're in a situation where nobody wants the job. All right, nobody wants the job. The Oscars are in less than 2 months. I think way less than 2 months. They are clearly getting ready for it. They are clearly getting ready to have the Academy vote, and nobody wants the job. Nobody wants the role after Kevin Hart's fallout. There has been a rumor, or at least a suggestion, that the Muppets take over, and I'm not going to lie, that actually could be worth it. But at the same time, the Muppets don't really have the best track record right now, being on ABC, given the fact that their show only got one season, and not even the whole season, I think, and then was canceled. I think it was mishandled by Disney, but that's just my theory on that one. But anyway, Ellen DeGeneres is now under fire because she has come out in defense of Kevin Hart and trying to get him back in the hosting gig. And people are mad at her because she's lesbian and his comments were homophobic. And people are like, no, you can't forgive somebody for something that they said a long time ago. That doesn't mean anything. That's not the way the world works. Well, it's not in the outrage culture that we call Twitter, which is one of the reasons why I'm glad I quit Twitter. Anyway, it says here, Ellen gets real with Kevin Hart and nudges him to host the Oscars. Kevin Hart went on Ellen to discuss his decision to step down from hosting the Oscars after homophobic tweets of his past surfaced. Ellen DeGeneres, a friend of Hart's, allowed him to explain the outrage and the news cycle from his perspective. She then told him that she had spoken to the Academy and wants Hart to take back the gig, starting the hashtag #OscarsNeedHart. Now, here's the thing. Ellen DeGeneres hosted last in 2014, and that was the last year it had really, really, really high ratings. And a lot of people out there have really wanted Ellen to start, well, basically go back into the role. Obviously, she's not interested, but she does want to use her clout to help her friend out, which is something I actually do respect the hell out of. We oftentimes see these people, these actors or public facing figures who say or do stupid things getting lambasted through the coals, or just drugged through the coals and lambasted online. And people don't ever want to forgive them for whatever their past transgressions might be, which should ultimately not be where we are in society. I think people make mistakes, and we need to acknowledge that people make mistakes and then move on from there. It's if you repeatedly make the mistakes is where we have an issue. But anyway, it says here that DeGeneres described going to dinner with Hart after she hosted the 2014 Oscars when he expressed his desire to get the gig. Hart reiterated that he always wanted to host, that he would be the fourth black person in history to get the job. Hart described having to address the tweets at press events over the years, including as recently as 2015 while promoting the film Get Hard with Will Ferrell. He says, saying here, I had to address it and apologize, and I say I understand what those words do and how they hurt. He says, I understand why people would be set, which is why I made the choice to not use them anymore. I don't joke like that because that was wrong. So this is him acknowledging that jokes he said back in the day, which some of them were probably a bit more mean-spirited than laugh out loud. But he said that they were wrong. He acknowledged it and he wants to move on. But the problem with the sensitive SJW-esque narrative that we see in journalism nowadays is that they want to keep hammering and hammering and hammering. And he's like, no, F this noise. I'm not doing it. I've already said my piece on it. That was years ago. And you guys want me to continuously kowtow to your demands. I give Kevin Hart mad respect for going, I've already apologized. That's where it's at. And then moving on with his life, as he should, as many people should do. But the problem with this particular cycle is that it's so vicious that once they get their hooks into you, they never want to let you go because they want you to know that they freaking own you. And it's been kind of illegal to own people since the 1860s. So let's be fair about that. This is Hart described the news cycle following his Oscar hosting announcement as a dark cloud. He felt the discourse would take away from his hosting and then chose to step down. DeGeneres said that she spoke to the Academy and that they were on board and felt the situation was mishandled. Hart described the reemergence of tweets from 2010 as a malicious attack intended to destabilize his career, which I completely agree with. Right? We've seen this multiple times in 2018. We're going to see it multiple times in 2019, and it's never going to go away. Honestly, my advice to you guys all right now is just delete your Twitter and leave the goddamn platform. Seriously. Or sanitize the hell out of it, because people will find anything they can to use against you, bad jokes and all. Trust me. It says here from DeGeneres, you have grown, you have apologized. You are apologizing again right now. Don't let those people win. Host the Oscars. But he's apologizing again for something he apologized for years ago. Those people already won. They already won. And the Academy gave him an ultimatum. Either apologize or don't host. Yeah, like F that. Now, the segment has already sparked backlash online, particularly toward Hart's critics being described as trolls and haters, when LGBTQIA plus, plus writers and figures also wanted answers. Well, answers for what? Answers for what? That's my question to you. Answers for legitimately what? The guy said stupid shit. The guy apologized for stupid shit. The guy hasn't said stupid shit, at least in regards to that context. Why not move on from there? Why is it you always have to have fresh blood? That's the whole thing. I understand people out there who are just learning about this might be upset, might be offended, but he apologized years ago and he literally owes you nothing. So stop it. Stop trying to make this dude a martyr because you can't control how you feel about something that happened years ago. The past is the past. Move the fuck on. Now, it says here that DeGeneres faces scrutiny for being too lenient with a friend and using her own status as a famous and powerful gay person to let his previous comments go. Hart did not apologize during or after the Oscar debacle or on Ellen. But why, again, he's already apologized. Why make him do it again? This is again, I'm bringing it back up again. Because that's exactly where it's at. Oh, apologize. It's like, apologize. And they're just clapping in his face, telling him to do something. Dance, boy. Put that ball on your nose and bounce like a seal. That's what they're doing. That's what they're doing to him. And he's like, no, I'm done with that. Like, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't. And Ellen, bless her heart, is coming out there and saying, look, I know these people. I've talked to these people. We're willing to work with it on the situation. And the key is at this point going forward to just address him, have him be the host, and then go forward with it. That's that's only if that's what he wants. But let's be truthful about this. Let's be just freaking buck naked honest about this right now. He shouldn't host the Oscars. They win either way, to be fair. They've already won. They've already won by bringing up the old tweets, by dragging his name through the mud, by trying to get him to bend over backwards for them at their command at any point in time. They snap, he jumps. That's what they want. He hosts the Oscars. All they're going to do is write hit pieces about the Oscars. The Oscars have already lost a lot of the relevance in regards to viewership in the last couple of years. In fact, it's been going just steadily down, dropping millions upon millions of people every single year since Ellen hosted. And this controversy, while it might boost the ratings, which might be the entire point of trying to get him back in the hosting position, is ultimately not going to fare well for people who tune in to watch. But at the same time, the people out there that are offended by this, the people out there that are all like, oh my God, he said something terrible on Twitter years ago, are the kind of people that probably aren't going to watch the Oscars anyway. Right? They're the kind of people out there that aren't going to give a shit. Middle America is not going to care about this. New York and LA might care a little bit, but ultimately, they're not everyone who watches the Oscars. Actually, given the numbers that are going around, maybe they are the only ones that watches the Oscars. But at the end of the day, if you either have forgiveness for somebody or you don't. That's what it boils down to. If a person admits fault, admits that they were wrong and wants to grow as a person, and you continuously hold that over their head, how in the hell can they grow? How in the hell can they be a better person when you constantly bash them over the skull with it? They can't. Because they're always having to go back to that moment and defend themselves or apologize to appease some people who weren't even around at the time when this shit happened. Or people out there who weren't even directly impacted by when this shit happened. That's where it's at with Kevin Hart right now. So I think he should, part of me wants him to toss the middle finger and do it and say F the haters. But he's right. If he goes and he hosts it, that's going to loom overhead. So he's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. That's where he's at. I feel bad for him because his comments, while dumb, haven't defined his career. And at least people are stepping up and defending him, trying to make sure he gets his job back or get a job in this particular regard. I don't know. I think I'll tell you this. He's got a movie coming out next week called The Upside, which is just like an American remake of The Intouchables, which is a good French movie. And if that movie does well theatrically, then he'll get his job back as the host of the Oscars. I'm not even kidding you. I think they're really waiting to see if this controversy surrounding him prompts support to go to the box office to raise up the profile of that film in order to get him. This is how Hollywood works. If his movie does well, they'll put him back. They'll offer him the job. And everything else. It's like SNL at this point, but once a year is what it feels like. Anyway, your thoughts, your opinions, curious to know. Let me know down in the comments. My name is Matt Jarbo. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day and peace out.